Hey friends, welcome again back to this channel. How you all doing? Hope you're all doing great, guys. Hope you're generally fine. So today I'm going to show you how to make this layered gown for a child. If this is what you want to learn, then sit around, let's dive into this together. So these are the materials I'm working with. This is a soft net and there's a hard net here as well. And of course I have the plain satin here and the lining to go with it. Okay, yeah, so just get to the drawing tables right now. So I'm going to be cutting out for the upper part first, which is the half length cut. And I'm using the same fabric for both the lining and the main piece for this one, okay? Yeah, so I have to use the same fabric. And of course, I'm cutting out for the front and the back piece together with my zipper space already there. So indicating the chest line at 6.5 there, go ahead and make a straight line. Then the next thing I want to do now is to create my slope. I'll use the 3 by 8 inches mark. Mark 8 inches, then mark 3 inches. And go ahead, come down 1 inches at that point and create my slope right there. Then the next thing I want to do now is to take my shoulder width. I'm working with 13 divided by 2, and that is 6.5. I will extend it all the way to the chest line, okay? And of course, get a straight line there as well. The next thing I want to do now is to fix the bust circumference. I'm working with 22 divided by 4, and that's going to be 5.5. I'm adding extra 2.5 inches. I'll come down to the waist. I'm also marking the same thing, 5.5, and of course 2.5 inches as well. I'll go ahead and connect this. So now I'll create my armhole curve there by getting the slope, the midpoint from that slope to the chest line, divided by 2, whatever you have. At that point, come in by 0.5 inches and go ahead and create the armhole. So this one is for the front armhole, while from that same midpoint, you can also draft toward the back armhole. And that's it here, guys. So we're done with this part. The next thing now is to fix in the neck measurement. I'm using a neck width of 2.5, okay, and the neck depth of 3 inches. So this one is for the front, 2.5 neck width, neck depth of 3 inches. I'm going ahead to make a curve. While for the back, I'm going to use a neck depth of about 6.5 or 5.5. Yeah, I later use 6 inches actually. 6 inches, then I'll go ahead and make my V neckline. And that's it, guys. We're done. So the next thing, of course, is to go ahead and cut this entire piece out. So cutting out the back armhole first, I just notch that edge so that I can separate the front and the back. So I'm going ahead to cut out the neckline. I'm notching the zipper space and of course opening up that back space as well. So you can see this now, going ahead to cut out for the front armhole, then also the neckline as well. So this is it, guys. So once this is done now, the next thing of course to do is to go ahead now and start joining the piece. So you can see I'm going ahead to cut the neckline for the back as well. And this is what it looks like. We're done here, guys. So now to create that sleeveless effect, I have to take away some inches from the armhole there. So if you are fixing a sleeve, you are good to go. But because this is a sleeveless, I have to take away about 1 inches away from the already shoulder width, which is what I'm doing now. So this is more like me, resketching what the armhole. You can see I'm using 3 inches in width actually, so that by the time I'm done sewing, the shoulder width is going to be 2 inches, which is what I have right now. You can see this. And like I told you, I used both pieces for both the lining and the main fabric. So I'll go ahead and start turning it now. So sew the neckline for both the front and the back, and the armhole as well. You can see this. So I'll go ahead and finish this up and also sew the sides, okay? Just like we turn up our fabric with the lining. And so this is what we have for the back. You can see I've turned it all to the front, but for the front I still left it like that, okay? So what I'll do now is to take this back sleeve and tuck it into the front. So the reason why we're doing this is so that we can hide the stitch properly, okay? You can see, just watch what I'm doing. Just tuck it in properly, make sure that it's aligned at the same edge there. Then you can go ahead now and use the pin to hold it down, okay? You can see what I'm doing. So I'm using my pin to hold this down. Then I'll do the same thing for the other side as well. Go ahead and tuck it in there, and of course hold it down. So what I'm doing now is I'll just go to my machine and sew it all up, okay? Yes, so even without sewing it up, you can already see what it will look like. If I turn it out, you can already see the stitches will be well hidden. So I'll finish this up, of course, give this a good press and come back to show you what it looks like. And also don't forget to sew the sides. I also sew the sides as well. I'll go finish this up. And here, guys, this is it. When I'm done, you can see I've given this a good press now. So the next thing I want to do now is to go ahead and join the sides. Okay, just take the proper measurement. A little bit of space is okay for a child. You don't have to be all fitted. And once I'm done, this is what I have. So I measure what I have on this waistline now. And what I have here now is about 28 from one end to the other. So this 28 is what I will use now to cut the lower part. Okay, yeah, so setting that aside, so this is what I'm using. Remember, it's layered. So what I did for the net, I just took away the half length from the full length of the gown, and that's it for the first layer. Why the second and the third one, the ones that is going to be on top, you just use your discretion. You can take away 5 inches or 7 inches just to make sure that they are well layered. Okay, yeah, but the most important one is the bigger one, which is taking away what half length from the full length of the gown. So now for the width, that 28 inches we measured for the waist, I just multiply it by like 5 or 7, depends on what you wear. You can even multiply it as much as 10, depending on how full you want your pleat to be. Okay, now for the band at the edge, I've cut this fabric in bias fold. There's a lot of it here, as you can see, a lot of pieces which I'm going to be joining. So because I cut it on bias fold, you can see how the edge is. Okay, bias fold means you're going to fold it like in a triangular form. That's what I mean. So I'm just trying to use this tiny piece to demonstrate it to you. You can see as if we want to cut our flare, just fold in a triangular fold and measure the width. I used about 4 inches in width there. Okay, so that's what I'm using. Now, in order to join the piece, because there are a lot of pieces there, you can see how the edge is not straightened because it's cut in bias. So there's a little bit of trick here. If you decide to match it up exactly the way it is, you will not get a straight fold like so. You won't get this. You have to place it in a cross form like so. You can see, just watch what I'm doing. So I'm using my pin to hold this down for now. So you can see it's in a cross form, and when you open it up, you can see it's aligning very well. So this is the way you join all the pieces together. Okay, yeah. So once that is done, you can now fold it into 2 for the band. So setting that aside, then this one we're going to use to cut the inside layer. So I'll be cutting this one in a flare form. So I have it folded into 4 already. Of course, to the length, the length of the lower part. That's after taking away the half length. Remember, it was 28 on the waist. We measured for the upper part, right? So I'm just marking out 4 inches. By the time I check what I have here, I supposed to be having like 7, but it wasn't up to 7. So I just had to come down a little bit more, like 0.5 inches more. Okay, because my circumference should be able to give me 7. So 7 times 4 is 28. And you know, because this is a flare cut, there's tendency that it will increase a bit, which is also okay. Okay, because of the zipper space there. Then from there now, I will now get the length of my flare, your desired length, whatever it is you have. Then you go ahead now and make the circumference just like you see me doing right now, placing it at that edge of the triangle, and you move your tape all around and to get what the circumference of the flare. You can see what I'm doing now. So once I've achieved this now, go ahead and create the curve and of course cut it out. So this one is going to be what? The layered, okay? The one you're going to be seeing through the layered net. I hope you understand that. Yeah, so that's just it. You can see we have our flare cut already. You can just go ahead and cross check what you have, and of course we have what we need. Okay, yes. So that's it for this one. Then of course for the lining as well, there are two linings I have here. One I'm going to use to draft out the ball effect, the one I'm going to be sewing my hard net on. Then the other one is going to be what? The final layered, okay, that is going to cover it up inside. Okay, yes. So I'm also cutting that one out as a flare, the one I'm going to sew my hard net on, although it's not as wide as the main one, just to give it that a little bit of ease there, using the waist circumference. Okay, so you can see by the time you place it on it, the one we've already cut out, you can see it's not the same thing in width and also in length. It has to be shorter. Definitely it has to be shorter. And mind you, please, you go ahead and use the color of the lining, although I'm using black here, right? Yeah, so that's it here for this one. Then now I'm going to measure the points where I'm going to be creating my layered effect there. So I'm measuring like 1 inch as a startup point there, 1 inch away from the actual edge, the waistline. Then from there I'll start measuring 4 inches. So 4 inches, 4 inches, 4 inches. Then I'll go ahead and connect all the points together. So this is going to give me the curve where I'll be sewing my hard net on. So you can see what I'm doing, Nitra. So once I've done this, now all I need to do is just to spread it open and mark it to extend to the other side. Okay, so you're going to be sewing on the 4 points, that's the 4 layers there. So I'm just going ahead to repeat what I've already done so that I can extend my curve to the other side as well. So you can see spreading it again and going ahead to extend it. So I have it already now. You can see this. So this is where I'm going to be sewing my hard net on later on. Okay, yes. So we're going to set this aside because this hard net, we're going to be creating a gathers effect before we sew it on it. Okay, yes. So that's what we're going to do. So once that is done now, the next thing I'm going to do now is to go ahead and also make a gathers for the net itself. Okay, yes, so I'll just take my time and finish all this up, right? Yes. So for the upper part, I'm also going to be attaching a belt which I'll be fixing by the side of the half length. Okay, I'll be doing that much later. Then I'm also going to be doing a bow tie, which I also attached at the back. And this is it. What I have there was like 19 inches by say 12 inches here. So I already ironed an interfacing just to give it some structure. Then I'll go ahead and sew the 3 sides. Just leave a little bit of space to turn it out to the front. Okay, yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. So once I've done that, of course, you can already see how it looks. So this is what we want to achieve. Then this tiny strap, this is about 3 inches by 6 inches. We just make a fold. That's what we're going to use to hold down the bow effect there. Okay, so I'll go ahead now and finish this up much later. So take your time to do this, then I'll come back to show you the next step. And guys, you can see I've fixed my belt, and so make sure that I sewed it like one inches away from the actual length of the half length cut. You can see this. We're going to be sewing the gown to it here. So that's how the belt has been attached on both sides. And for the bow effect, you can see this. I've already turned it out and given a good press. Just locate the center line before you make that pleat effect to give you your bow. Then of course use that to wrap it up. This one is just a simple thing to do. Yeah. Then for the net, of course, I've gone ahead to make my gathers. You can see I've also fixed my band. So after sewing all my bands together, I just folded it in two like I sew and just sewed it on the edge. That's just it. After sewing it on the edge, you can see that you now top stitch to hide the hemming, and make sure that you weave the inside, which is what I did. You can see what I did, so it will make it look neat and it's well relaxed. Okay, yeah, so just make the gathers effect. Everything, we brought it together to the waist circumference. Remember I told you, depending on how voluminous you want it to be, you can multiply your net by that 28 of the waist. You can multiply it by 10, by even 15. Okay, yeah, by 10 I multiply by my like 5 inches or 7. Yeah, so get this. So you can see it's not as bogus, but it was okay. So after laying it up, you can see you go ahead and sew. Then also the flare, I also sew the edges of the flare, as you can see. So this one is the one that is going to be inside, right? Yeah, so we're going to hide it inside. Then before you now fix the lining, but before the lining, you will fix what the part that is going to have that bow effect. Okay, so look at it here now. So I've already make a gathers with my hard net. Okay, this is what I have. So I'll just go ahead and sew it. After pleating, I'll just sew it on all those lines, right? So once you sew it now, it will give you that bow effect. So here now was a disastrous moment for me. After joining everything together, you can see what we have here my iron messed this up. So at this point, I was in a state of, I don't know, it was a roller coaster of emotion right now. My iron burnt this beautiful dress, like just on the finished part of it, right? I didn't see this coming. This iron, I've been working with it and has never given me issues. And this is what I get now. So at this point, I was totally confused. I will not lie to you. And all I needed to do was just to take a break out, and I went to pray. Trust me, that's what I did. I went to pray to God to give me the idea. What should I do to be able to cover up this, you know? So after that, and of course, I was lucky enough, God just put an idea in my head. Okay, yes. So at this point now, all I did was to bring this piece of fabric. You can see already ironed the first side just to hide the edges. Then I placed it on top of it, and I top stitched it round. Of course, that wasn't going to do that. Is going to still look funny, right? So after covering it up, the next thing I did was to use a lace trimming. Okay, I had to get a lace trimming, so I couldn't put that on the camera. I just got that much later. Okay, yes, so it wasn't anything extra. So the lace trimming was just I cut it to sew it on only the upper part there. Okay, and this is what it turned out. So I just adjusted it there from the upper part and extended it to that point, so you won't even know anything happened, right? Yes, so that was how I escaped this disaster. And luckily, this is my daughter's outfit. It wasn't a client's own. It should have even been more problem. So this is how it came out, guys. We have come to the end. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you find this helpful. Remember to on your notification bell. See you on the next one, guys. Have a wonderful day, and bye for now.